Now that we have done all of our evaluation, we know what is working, what is not, what to fix. In this lesson, we'll go back to the computer and make those adjustments. So once we have done all our edits on paper, I have the notes next to me, as you've seen. And I'm going to start first off by doing, I think, the most challenging part of this, that is working on the spacing of this introduction. So I'm going to go close here. I have the character panel. I'm going to try to do everything with just the use of kerning. I'm going to bring that in, and I'm going to start adjusting, especially what is happening here. You see, because two straight lines here, and then we have irregular shape on the T, it's kind of more difficult to evaluate optically. I'm going to have a lot of patience in this part, just to work a bit more meticulously here with more detail. Of course, this is something that may vary depending on what you are doing and the letters that you're using, but it will give you an overview of how I do it. Really what we're looking for is the spacing again between the three letters and then just one in the middle. You'll see that in this part is slightly tighter than that we have on DOM, so I'm going to adjust that too. We could just take the whole word and adjust the kerning in just one click, but that is really not the way to do it, because you'll notice that there is a difference, and that's really why we're studying in this class. Still not there yet. You can actually measure it as we did it on paper. For now, I'm gonna do it all by eye. Alright, it's looking better, I think. I'm gonna do it in here. A couple of adjustments, slightly tighter, because while I'm making it tighter, we might need to increase the size of this part too, in relationship with the title. Actually, look at this, PRES, and then all the rest, the spacing looks different, especially in this part. It's too wide in comparison with the rest. So it's always good to look for the particular and then look at them as an overall in the whole picture. A little bit more here. Just a slightly touch. We're close to finish this part, and that's why I wanted to do it first, because I knew it will take us longer. This looks more or less correct. Here. I want to leave that alone. The next thing that we're going to do is increasing the point size of this. By the way, I'm going to start using shapes and curves instead of the actual text, so I recommend that you save a copy. I'm going to save it now here, and I want to call this one expanded. Click OK. And I'm going to bring my guides. And what I want to do is Command-Shift-O, so expand that part. And I want this to be slightly bigger, so we have that shape that we talked previously. The other part that you want to see is that for the baseline of these two little legs, they almost need to be touching to this baseline. Once that's done, we might need to move this down, so we have a bit more connection there. Pushing this down to just there. Okay, I think this is looking better. You see that in here, I had marked the way I wanted my ribbon to be placed. I created a guide, so I'm going to really follow that part. Bring those in so you don't move both. Then I'm going to adjust these two with the white arrow. Then this is something that you shouldn't be doing, but I am going to do it. I'm just going to change it like this, and then I'm going to correct based on what I have on the guide. Selecting the knots and then adjusting this to a little bit in, and then these parts in here just slightly up, and then the whole shape should be 1 point. Then I'll duplicate that part, right click, transform, reflect, okay, bring that in, and if you see the shape now, is slightly wider than our original sketch. That's really what we're looking for. And then to spice this up a little bit, one of the things that I've noticed that is not actually working is that really the rhythm that we have on the composition goes from this regular font that we're using, 1, 2, 3, and then we have a rough cut that is really beautiful with these little indentations and slanted serifs. And then we have the script, but this is actually in this bottom part looking a bit boring. So I am going to use the same style as this. I'm going to go to the menu, then rough cut, and then clean. And in here, we're actually changing this part to width. And I'm going to use, with the use of the eyedrop, copying this style, and then just bringing that down. Maybe we even spice it up a little bit more here and we change it to lowercase. Of course, I think this needs to be slightly tighter and this is slightly smaller. And the whole thing with more space in between. And maybe we just go in one line as we mark it on the edits. I think this is looking even better already. Then we copy this part, character tool, we have it here, and then change this to an uppercase, lowercase. Change the spacing, increase the point size, going up. I think this is already looking good. Alright, I think we have done all of our edits. We have spacing at the top part. We have increasing and adjusting this part of attention that we did by expanding it. Command-Shift-O. Then we adjusted the other parts that is to the letters in comparison of what is happening with attention, so everything works together as its own object. And then we work on the banner. I think the only thing that we're missing is actually the spacing on the T. That is, I think, is looking too close in our print. So I'm gonna open that a little bit. Should be enough. And I think that will be it. There was one small part that I wanted to change that I was looking at, and this is connection with the W and the I. I am going to use the brush, that is Shift P. This part is going to allow you to have just one shape that is more regular. I'm going to bring that point down and just have a connection there that we can use that is similar to what is happening to the rest. I think this looks good. Small touch, I think it makes a difference. I think this is looking really good right now, but in the next lesson, I think we're ready to introduce embellishments and a little bit of color too.